Good morning. Welcome to the O'Connell Family Vineyards. Here we are right in the Oak Knoll district of Napa Valley, getting ready to grill some bone-in ribeye and enjoy some 2015 Equilateral, which is 100% cab, 100% estate. So let's try that to start off the day. That's beautiful. Give me 1 second, because since we're in the vineyards and it's just getting around veraison, let's try a grape quickly. Katie, would you like to try one?
Absolutely.
So we got some Cabernet Estate right here, grapes. Here we go. You take one, I get one. There we go. Still a little tart, but it's getting there. Looking to be a great vintage. So, what we're doing today is our grilled ribeye with the Cabernet Butter. What we're going to do with the ribeye today is toss it in our pink peppercorn rosemary steak rib, which you have right here, and the bone-in ribeye. But first, what we're going to do is get a little traditional. What you see here is a nice wood fire. We're going to throw on some rosemary sticks to let that steam up a little bit and adds a little bit more flavor to the meat as we're grilling. So what I'm going to do is just pop that on just for a minute. So you see how it's starting to smoke up? I wish you could smell this with me because it is amazing. Next, we're going to throw the grill right on top there. Put this on just to get the grill hot quickly. Just a little right there. Next, and oftentimes I'll do this beforehand, but I wanted to be able to show everybody. What we have here is the bone-in ribeye, and we're gonna go ahead and just rub it in. You eat all 4 sides of the steak, so make sure to get the sides as well. Look at that beautiful fat, the marbling on here. I get excited when I see raw meat, just the endless flavor potential that we have. We're smoking pretty good over here. Let's knock that down. Put that down as well. Right here's the perfect spot. All right. Get this going, get this going. Over here, that's gonna be delicious. That's the Cabernet Butter that we're gonna be getting into. Again, just for finishing on that, along with the Cabernet sea salt. So the steak's ready to go, but first, let's get a little bit of oil on the grill. This way it doesn't stick, you get better grill marks as well. Adds a little flavor, gives you a little heat. This is gonna be fantastic. I don't know about you, Katie, I'm already getting hungry. And so, as you can see, be generous with that. Get it all in there because that's going to be the flavor component. Use a nice grass-fed organic beef. Much healthier, better, tastier, all around wonderful. There we go. Get that going. Get a little sear on that. Now, what I like to do personally, good or bad, since we have the rosemary sticks in there, I want to get that smokiness right off the bat. So I'm going to put this back on just for a minute or two while we get another taste of the wine, because that is important. Now, the 2015 Equilateral, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, is coming from the Creek Buck Vineyard on the property. So just over that way, over the hill, through the woods, behind the house. Put this back up, give it some oxygen. Now, patience is not my biggest asset, so we're just going to let that go. I like doing it in the open flame. It keeps the heat going, because once you get the oxygen in the fire, that kind of spruces it up and gets it going. So we're going to keep that there. Next, we're going to move this to the side. And get our presentation plate ready. Juicy steak, and you can see right down here you're getting a nice little sear in there. See it bubbling? That's flavor starter right there. And then what we're going to be doing after the steak's finished, we're going to flip it a couple times, get those good marks on there, put it on our presentation plate. Now with the presentation plate, what I always like to do is, if you can do some pre-garnishes beforehand, one, it gives you the direction for where you're going to put the protein. But secondly, it saves a little bit of time. So if you're running to the gun, you can put it together, keep it going. What we're going to be finishing the steak with, as always, is the Cabernet Butter. Now for the Foodie Club members, you've got this recipe, but essentially it's creating a Cabernet Butter with Cabernet reduction mixed in the butter, whisk it all together. You can put it in a blender if you'd like, just to get it really incorporated. After that, I like to set it in the freezer, let it harden, and then what we're going to do today is just a couple slices off it. You can keep it in the freezer at all times. You can do this with a number of butters. In the tasting room, we do our basil butter, which is fantastic with the prosciutto bite. But at home, I keep these on stock, so anytime what I'm cooking, that flavored butter is already there. Now again, talking about the patience, let's see how we're looking over here. Ooh, look at that caramelization getting in there. So what you'll also notice is this part's getting a little bit darker than this side. That's due to the heat on the barbecue. So I'm gonna keep it this way. So this side, closer to the bone, is continuing to get a little bit more heat. However, once we flip it again, we'll twist. This way it's dispersing the heat evenly. Set this down here. And we'll be right back. Now, what we're gonna do over here, grab the plate. Here we go. Right in the middle, because again, the protein's gonna be the main component. So we have that there. In between, always wanna continue to utilize your time well. Here we go. Throw on some sweet peppers, get those on the grill, because while we're grilling those, we're gonna start finishing the steak. So, first things first is we're gonna take this Cabernet Butter over here. So let me scoot that right over. What I like to do, just a good fat slice. Here we go. Cut that in half so we can disperse a little bit and watch the magic happen. So if you like butter, like myself, again, this is a Cabernet Butter. Just go ahead and put it there. It's gonna start melting away, as you can see. And so don't even worry about it. Heat wins when it comes to the battle with butter, trust me. So that's gonna be there. Next, we always like a little salt and pepper. So today we're using our lavender pepper. The lavender telecherry pepper is one of our most popular items. Many of you have tried it. We love using it in the tasting room and at home. So a good little sprinkle there. And again, as we're cooking or resting, cooking this is all gonna melt away. Next, we're gonna take some Cabernet sea salt. Cabernet sea salt, by far one of my favorites, especially with steaks. That's essentially what it's built for. So when we make it, you've got those big, thick crystals. Take those two will be melted amongst the heat. I'm getting hungry. I'm getting hungry right now. So we've got that set up. Again, let's flip the peppers around a little bit. Yeah, I see the rosemary is essentially gone away on the inside. So that's why it's key, in my opinion, to close it, get that smoke, that steam first when you're putting on the meat, because that's gonna be your main component of the dish. This way you can get that flavor profile going. Right now you can fan it a little bit, but the fire's gonna be nice and hot, good enough to get these peppers going, so we're gonna get a char on that. In between, you probably noticed the different products that we're featuring. So, these are our Cabernet barbecue chips. When we prepared the fire, we throw some of that in too. Now, these are gonna be prepared or created from our barrel staves that we use to make the Cabernet with. So it's got that Cabernet soaked in, plus you get the oak component. So not as much as you would get in some wines, but it's perfect, again, for the steak. Over here, we've got the pink peppercorn rosemary steak rub. Probably one of my favorite rubs in general right now. That's gonna consist of pink peppercorns, telecherry pepper, tarragon, rosemary, garlic, sugar, salt. So by adding all those components, you're gonna see that it allows for that perfect sear and color on the steak. Over here, the 2015 Equilado that we're just steadily going through. Then you're also wondering about L. So this is the 2015 L. L as in Gabrielle, which is gonna be a Napa cab-driven Bordeaux style blend. It is tasting amazing right now. This too will go wonderful with the steak. However, it is still only about 10 a.m. right now. So I'm gonna just start with the one wine and go from there. Here we go. And the nice thing about cooking on the grill, less dishes, you get a better flavor profile, especially if you like that smokiness from the rosemary, the barbecue chips, and everything. I need to get this a little bit hotter. Give me 1 second. Steam those up. Let that cook for just a minute. Now, in the meantime, let's check out our butter. Spread that across. See how it's just oozy, gooey, tasty. And again, you can do this with a number of different styles of butter. Cabernet and steak, probably one of the best love relationships ever. Add in butter and salt, and that's a happy family right there. Back over here. I wish you could hear some of the crackling going on inside. Here we go. And so depending on how you like your peppers, if you want a good hard char or not. Now a char is gonna be essentially getting those black kind of seared lines on vegetables, on starch, on the meats, whichever works best. Some people like them blistered. For me, I just like a good little heat, because when you're adding the heat to it and getting some marks on there, that's gonna bring out the true flavor of a pepper. Similar to most dishes, once you apply heat, it really opens up the different flavor profiles that it's Mother Nature intended it to. Do a little plating right here. Depending on what else you're featuring, sometimes you need a little pop of color like this. What I'm gonna do is take some fresh marjoram, just throw it on there. For me, I love herbs, so I'm gonna go like this, throw these in here, and I always like a living kind of garnish when possible, so we're gonna keep this here. And here we are. To a life well lived.